Hey, nerdy sports fan here. We're talking week 16 NFL action, and this game has, well, a lot of meaning for both squads as far as playoff picture goes. So, Tennessee desperately needs to win out. Desperately. They need to win this game, they need to win the next one because they have a real chance to pass Pittsburgh for the sixth playoff position. They still have a chance to win the damn division. So, yeah, they're hungry. Saints, they have a real shot at having the number one seed in the NFC. They know from experience that home field advantage through the playoffs is big. And it's their best chance at winning a Super Bowl. It's gonna be an intense game from both sides. The Saints are a better team. They have a more experienced, better coaching staff. They have a more experienced, better quarterback. They've got a defense that can really take advantage of having the lead. Tennessee's a tough team. They're not going to go away. They have a tough team identity that they get from their coach. They have a quarterback who now knows how to play NFL football. And they're realizing that the skill position players on their team weren't really that bad. It was the quarterback delivering the ball to them. A.J. Brown is a marvel end of the season. And guess who picked him up and told you guys to? Yeah, that's right. So, A.J. Brown coming into his own. I don't necessarily expect him to have anywhere near the game he had last week because he's going up against Marshon Lattimore, who's, I understand we've kind of forgotten about him because of Stephon Gilmore and Tre'Davious White and other corners that have really stepped up this year, but Lattimore's really good. So if they decide to lock down A.J. Brown with him, A.J. Brown will not have a very good game. They might not see that as a need, though. A.J. Brown's still a young player, and he's still not at the point where he's so dominant that you really got to focus in on him. Because the dominant part of Tennessee's offense is Derrick Henry. So they're obviously going to lean on Derrick Henry through the game. The Saints have options. They can beat you many different ways. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray can dominate pace of play. Drew Brees with Michael Thomas on the outside can dominate pace of play. Let's not forget about Jared Cook up the middle. They have options. Tennessee does not. So obviously I think the Saints are going to win. Tennessee has one way to win this game. That is dominate time of possession using Derrick Henry. And every single time the Saints load the box to stop it, you pick them apart on the outside with A.J. Brown. I don't think that necessarily can be very successful because one-on-one A.J. Brown versus Marshon Lattimore, do I think the receiver's going to beat a one-on-one matchup frequently? Sure. Absolutely. But this isn't a huge talent gap. No, not at all. In fact, it favors the Saints. Marshon Lattimore is better at his position right now in his career than A.J. Brown is at his. So if they are locked up in a one-on-one situation like that, I don't necessarily think A.J. Brown's going to win that matchup all the time. I just think they're going to pepper him with targets because he's very obviously the best player they have on the outside. So, fantasy football-wise, this is Derrick Henry all day. A.J. Brown all day. It's so much easier to call on Tennessee's side. Those two guys, 1-2, that's their options. So you need to start those dudes. But the Saints, it's always so much more widespread. Is it going to be an Alvin Kamara day? Is it going to be a Michael Thomas day? Is it going to be a Jared Cook day? Is it going to be randomly a Latavius Murray day? You don't freaking know. And because Drew Brees is Drew Brees, he's going to use 5, 6, 7 receiving options. Who out of those is going to get randomly 3 or 4 looks and a touchdown? You don't know. All you do know is they're taking stats away from Michael Thomas. Yeah. So the Saints are harder to call fantasy-wise. Michael Thomas is the most consistent, for sure. And Drew Brees definitely likes his tight ends, so you want to put Cooks in there. But are they going to dictate the pace of play running the ball? They can. I mean, Tennessee's run defense isn't the greatest. So you can run the ball. Kamara is not having a dominant season like he had last year. Because Mark Ingram's gone. Yeah. Kamara is the scat back. Okay, he's the guy who you put in as a change of pace. He's the receiving threat. He's the catch-all. He's not the pounded up the middle sledgehammer that Mark Ingram is. And Latavius Murray isn't either. So that's why it's a little bit more difficult for Kamara this season. He needs to be the 2 in the 1-2 punch. And right now he's the 1, and he's miscast in that role. So I don't think Kamara's going to have a dynamite game. I don't. I think if you're going to start your Saints, which you should, obviously, they're a great offense, it needs to be Michael Thomas, Jared Cook. There's better running back options this week, especially than Alvin Kamara. There just is. But the Saints are a high-powered offense. So if Kamara slips away and gets a receiving touchdown, it wouldn't surprise me. It's just more of a gamble than other running backs are. You start people like Henry and Christian McCaffrey and even Nick Chubb over Kamara and Ezekiel Elliott. You start those guys over Kamara because Kamara is up and down, touchdown dependent. Whereas the other guys are the only option for their team. So they're going to get a workload. Kamara's worth a start for sure, but probably not on whatever team got to the championship round anyway. You know, they would have had the Derrick Henrys on their roster, I'm sure. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. In this one, I have the Saints winning. I mean, they're really going to put an end to Tennessee's playoff hopes. They are only, oddly enough, 3-point favorites. Bet the Saints. Bet the Saints. There's no way they should only be 3-point favorites in any game against an AFC South opponent. I understand they lost to Houston earlier in the year, but neither Houston nor New Orleans is the same team. So Tennessee will get a bad game here, and they'll just know that they should have started Ryan Tannehill from the beginning, and they'll wonder what could have been. Sorry, Tennessee fans, it's been a fun ride, and you made the most of it, but just needed to start Tannehill a few games earlier than you did. Might have went out differently. Anyways, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and hit the rest of the videos for more fantasy football advice. Thanks, guys.